Wait, why is it not on?
I'm here.
Okay. Do we have like a filter for my face?
Let me put a light or two on.
Yeah, I'm
Let's,
gonna have to do the same thing. Hold on,
I
let me
like
get.
him.
You like him? I do too.
Yeah.
He's great. Um,
So I'll be kind of like his test client for this, which isn't a bad thing.
no, I mean, no, I think he's got to get a base going and we've got to build a curriculum. So not only are you the test person, but you've been with us a long time. And so him working with you is going to help him develop the field-wise curriculum also because that's what makes us different.
Right, understood. And that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I'm
And
excited.
there's nothing wrong with that. I have no problem being a test dummy.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Perfect for
Oh,
me because honestly, I like that he's definitely doing it, and I wasn't demeaning him because he's a great guy and I think he'll do very well with it. The comment about private coaches was meant to say, I don't think a lot of people a lot of people go through the certifications like he does to do it. I think they just call themselves a life coach for the perk of calling themselves a life coach without actually getting certified to do it.
yep. Yeah, and he took the time to do that, which makes him, yeah, definitely. I got your point. I knew that you weren't being that
I do
way.
definitely think he'll do great, and I'll be a good first client for him because honestly, I'm doing accountability partnership, which was an idea from my mentor and friend in Canada. And unfortunately, before you and I get this started, because we have 2 minutes, he
Yeah.
and I can't his basically he and I were not I have a client that he didn't want to work with, but on his end he wasn't generating the sales to keep the idea going. So we agreed right now, because my time is going to be scarce with the IT course, that
Oh yeah.
maybe after 4 months he and I can revisit that, or he's given me his blessing to pursue it on my own. He and I have the same joint vision on it, but I also have a different set of clients that I think will benefit that he might not have wanted to kind of deal with to start off.
Mhm.
He wanted to deal with executives in real estate, syndication people, and just real estate people, which is perfectly fine because that's where, for this type of service, the money is. I wanted to work with people who are probably employed but need a fire, lit under their butt to go job
Mhm.
searching but don't want to do it. I still
Yeah.
want to keep his base idea as well, but first I want to develop with the job seeker, and like my first client, the person who might be transitioning back into society and needs a little bit of a kick in the butt with structure. And then once I've
Yeah.
gotten a good understanding of that group, then start incorporating people who are executives and, other employees like yourself.
That's beautiful, Benjamin. You know what? Since we have 1 minute, I'm gonna go tell my boyfriend to not come in right now because we are getting ready to record.
Okay.
So let me like scurry him along. Otherwise, he's gonna be in the video. So loud, so loud. Ah, okay. All right.
Okay. All right, let's get going. All right, everybody. Welcome back to episode 2 of the Autism Perspective. I'm Benjamin.
I'm Allison.
And today, if you remember episode 1, we were talking about kind of the traits of autism. So today, Allison and I are going to discuss probably one of the most, and it's not controversial, FYI, but it's something autistic people will completely understand that they hate doing, but because society doesn't really think around us, we have to do it. Masking and burnout. So let's start with masking. Masking can affect mental health, relationships, work, and even identity. So, what is masking?
Masking means hiding or changing autistic traits to fit into social expectations.
Because society is very neurodivergent driven or very neurotypical driven, they don't always consider yourself or myself. Masking is just another way that we were taught from a young age when autism was less under and ADHD were less understood. We were basically told not necessarily hide traits, but you have to fit into their society. Unfortunately, because those are the people who make the rules, who hold who are gatekeepers of the opportunity, we're now unfortunately expected to show good icon. Actually, you go over here.
Yeah.
This is you.
Okay.
So give us some of the examples.
Forcing eye contact, rehearsing conversations beforehand, copying other people's behavior, and hiding stimming, right? Hiding stimming and pretending you understand social situations and social cues when you don't.
So, in other words, an example of this is with people like my best friend who might not necessarily understand autism. They like the idea of small talk or like, "Hey, did you catch? How are you this week? How are you? What's up? How's your week been going? Or did you catch the game last week?" Basically, what I'm insinuating is one of the ways we have Allison and I have to unfortunately mask is small talk, which honestly, there's a huge part of me that when I've had to do small talk before has literally kept it in my head. I don't want to make small talk. Can we actually have a real talk? Because small talk is just basically not fun.
Yeah, not at all.
It like and depending on whether it's depending on the gender, it can really make for awkward conversation if you don't completely understand what they want to talk about.
Hmm.
And there's that. All right. A lot of autistic people learn masking because they were told they or in my case, you're too much, you stay too quiet, you can be overly sensitive, or you're weird.
Yeah, and sometimes masking is about safety or trying to fit in at school, work, or in social situations.
For many autistic adults, masking starts young. You learn that acting naturally can bring negative reactions, so you adopt. Masking equals survival strategy for many autistic people. So, for this explanation, what I would actually like to say about this is a couple things that I want to debunk. You're too much. I feel like that's just neurotypical translation for I don't want to listen to you, but I don't know how else to say it to you. It where I'm just like, just tell me the truth. It's
Yeah.
not that I'm too much. Maybe your mind is like literally, I don't know how to react. Then there's you're too quiet, which is basically the expectation of I should have a conversation with you for the sake of having a conversation with you where it's forced. I don't want it to be forced. I want it to be a natural conversation. So if I start off quiet, what's wrong with that?
Yeah, masking can help someone blend in socially, but it can also be very exhausting to mask.
Why don't I just say this one? It can make you feel pretty shitty, especially on the weekend or at the end of the night when you've had to do it for far too long.
Absolutely. Then
Now,
you
here's my favorite one. If I had $1 for every time somebody told me I was too sensitive, how rich do you think I would be right now?
super wealthy.
Exactly, because unfortunately, I feel like when a neurotypical says you're too sensitive, what they're really saying is, I don't want to listen. Wah, I don't want to listen. You're saying something that offends me when in all reality, you should, instead of telling me instead of telling me I'm too sensitive, the words that should really be coming out of your mouth are as follows. I don't know how to understand where you're coming from. Would you mind explaining it to me? Would probably be a much better, way to talk to someone like you or me.
Mm-hmm.
How about I could elaborate on weird, or I could just say this instead of the weird label. Most people you'll meet in entrepreneurship, as I've met, or who are high up executives in the Fortune 500 companies, are definitely on the autism spectrum because you have to be really unique. And they're basically the set of misfits who couldn't fit into corporate America. So they started their own businesses, much like you and I are doing now, because
Mm-hmm.
what's the problem? We don't fit in.
Nope. It's cookie cutter. Cookie
So,
cutter.
as you hinted, you start off with what's the cost of masking?
Mm-hmm. The cost of masking is social burnout. I mean, there are so many things I can't even describe, but social burnout is my biggest one. I cannot mask for very long before I want to go and hide in my room.
Ah, my favorite, coming back into my apartment and going on YouTube because I've had to basically mask all day and try to be somebody I'm not.
Hmm.
Imagine acting in a play all day, constantly monitoring your tone, facial expressions, body language, and reactions. That takes energy. So by the time I've had my first cup of coffee in the morning, if I'm having to do something like this, I've already burned through that cup of coffee.
Yep. Yeah, and then you need more. Yeah. Long-term masking actually can lead to burnout, like I just said, anxiety, depression, identity confusion, and emotional exhaustion.
Sometimes people think an autistic person is doing fine. I'm going to attack this in one moment because I have a lot that I can say on that one that I think you will 100% agree with
Mhm.
because they're masking well, while privately they're overwhelmed. The neurotypical doing fine is more of what I would honestly consider a defense mechanism for them, not us. The
Yeah.
problem is we go with one of the oldest phrases. Can you walk a mile in my shoes? Which
That,
unfortunately, most of the time, the people who are saying you're doing fine, this is another one. I've been told this for 30 to 35 years of my life now. If I had a dollar for every time, I would probably not even have to work corporate. This would be this would have been monetized probably a good 3 years ago because that would have been my focus. I'd have had a real operating budget just because everybody's like, you're doing fine. It's more of a defense mechanism for them.
mhm.
And
Yeah.
unfortunately, it's also one of those things that if even if they keep in their head, you probably shouldn't say it to us because unfortunately, no matter how nice you try to put it, it doesn't sound nice and it's actually insulting to somebody like yourself or me or anyone in our community.
Oh, yeah.
Doing fine is basically, for my last note on this, doing fine is basically acknowledging that people on the autism spectrum don't all get to work at tech companies and get, mid to high five, six-figure salaries. Most of us, in fact, do not hit those numbers.
Yeah. True. Very true.
And that was, and now for the final, and now for a personal experience. For me, masking looked like trying to force myself in social situations that drained me because I thought that's what I had to do.
Yes, for me, it was copying how other people talked or reacted just to avoid standing out, especially in corporate or business situations.
Even though corporate and business situations, let's be really honest about something, it's run by autistic people. They just hide it too.
It is. Let's be real.
I mean, look at the two people who are running Palantir right now, who are basically were basically probably some level like Elon Musk on the autism spectrum, Peter Thiel and Alex Karp. They can just instead of try to be people they're not, they can show us who they are on TV because they're free running a business.
Hmm. Yeah, that's true.
And the difficult part And the difficult part is that people who only see the mask, not the effort behind it. That's where the burnout comes.
Yes.
All
Support
right.
doesn't mean, oh, yeah, go ahead.
No, you go.
Oh, support doesn't mean forcing autistic people to hide themselves better.
It means creating environments where autistic people can communicate naturally and feel safe being themselves.
Yeah, Benjamin, and that could mean allowing yourself sensory breaks, respecting each other's communication differences and our own, not forcing eye contact, and understanding stimming because stimming is different for each person.
Explain stimming again, because I don't think I understood what stimming was. I've probably done it, but I don't realize what it is.
Stimming is like making little things that calm you down from rocking. Like when I'm very upset, I'll rock back and forth. People sometimes tap their foot or they move their leg up and down. There are just so many different stimming things out there. Playing with fidget spinners or yeah.
Okay, that's right. Because when I tend to fidget, sometimes it's either picking my nose, sometimes it's pulling my pants up, if I feel they're getting lower, but that's probably more just of a defense mechanism. Sometimes I put my headphones on when I'm on a bus, not so, I can just listen to something and kind of zone out.
Mm. Yeah, that's stimming. Some people chew gum. I mean, it really just depends on what calms you down and what you can get away with.
Interesting.
Yeah, what you can get away with in public stimming too. Because sometimes, like, if I rock in public, everybody's going to stare at me and be like, what's wrong with that lady?
Eh. All right, guys, and that was episode 2. Thanks for watching.
Thanks. Bye.
All right.
Oh, cool. Sensory overload. You know what? Another one that would be good to talk about. I just had it in my head. Um, I cannot think of it now, but I will think of it and email you when it comes to mind. But it's a
We're going to
one
do
is
one more episode because we have about, I think, hold on,
let's do it.
segment. This carries 10 minutes. So this will carry the
Let's do
remainder of
it.
the record. All right.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everybody. This is episode 3, sensory overload and what the world feels like. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Benjamin.
And I'm Allison.
Today, we're talking about sensory overload, something many autistic people experience daily, and we're going to explain what it feels like from our perspective.
Sensory overload happens when the brain receives more sensory input than it can comfortably process.
That can include sounds, lights, smells, texture, movements, or even too many conversations happening at once.
We might feel normal, but to one person, it can feel what might feel normal, but to one person can feel overwhelming as an autistic person. So to a neurotypical, it's just normal. Visual ideas would be bright lights intensifying or certain like types of lights. Like for me, it's LED. Like Benjamin said, the overlapping sound effects. So music playing while people are talking to me, or busy environment visuals, like too many visuals.
For example, a crowded grocery store might feel impossible because of fluorescent lights, loud carts, people talking, music playing, unexpected noises.
Or certain clothing textures, which is a big one for me, can feel unbearable. Even if others don't notice them, I rip the tags out of all of my clothes because I ruin clothes because I don't like the texture. So
Except you can't do that at the store because then you'd have to pay for it.
I know I
Sensory
bring it home.
sensory overload uh, isn't being dramatic. The brain is just generally overwhelmed. That's the thing that I think most people don't realize when I've been told you're being dramatic. I'm like, no, I'm just at a point where I'm not able to tolerate X, Y, or Z. I'll give an
Mhm.
example a little later on.
Sometimes overload can lead to shutdowns or meltdowns, which I know a lot about.
I don't think I've had the only time I've had meltdowns is literally when I come home and just start playing YouTube to kind of disengage at the end of the day.
Well, a meltdown can involve emotional overwhelm, crying, frustration, or needing to escape the environment. I am unlike you. I have meltdowns during the situation. So that's it's very overwhelming.
A shutdown may look like someone becoming frozen or unable to communicate, and it's important to understand that these are not tantrums or attention seeking. Oh yeah, by the way, I this is something else that I said in the last episode. If I had a dollar for every time I'm being told I throw temper tantrums or I'm looking for attention, I'd be wealthy again at this point because honestly, that's probably just the brain for the neurotype not understanding that I got a lot going on and I need to decompress. So you're either going to have to deal with it, in the best way that you can, or instead of making fun of it, just leave it alone.
Absolutely. It's
For me, loud environments can feel mentally exhausting really quick.
for me, too many people talking at once makes it really hard to focus and hear what's being said. I have to ask people to repeat themselves.
Oh, I've done that too, especially when loud music is and I can't hear what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
that's normal at clubs because, at nightclubs, they got to play loud music to kind of appease the crowd, obviously, but doesn't mean it's better for us.
Earplugs, earplugs. But then we look weird.
Earmuffs.
Yeah.
Okay, you did that. All right, here you go.
There are many ways that people can help autistic individuals experiencing sensory overload.
Some examples include lowering the noise levels, giving space, avoiding sudden touch, allowing headphones or sensory tools, being patient during shutdowns or meltdowns.
Small adjustments can make a huge difference.
Of course they can. And like an example for you of what was a more recent meltdown that you had and how did you handle it?
I had a meltdown because my boyfriend was running late to a concert, the No Doubt concert, and I don't like it when people are late. It's a trigger, and so I started acting up and getting really not abusive but rude with my words and having a meltdown. And mid meltdown, I realized this is going to make things worse for me. This is going to upset him. This is going to ruin our night. So I reframed and I readjusted and I regulated my emotions a little bit better.
When to regulate my emotions, I take my emotions and then just enter them into Chat GPT. And that usually, and besides that, there's also therapy, YouTube, and music. But
Mm-hmm.
there are times where I have at least two other business collaborators. Yesterday, when my Zoom meeting was like over 25 minutes late. I had to end the thing early because he couldn't, connect. And then we connected on Google Meet. But sometimes the anger is a little more noticeable in email.
That's interesting. Mine's more noticeable in words and like my body tone and or my body language. Um, Email, I could say that I might be that way if I didn't use AI to help me be proper. Like, does that make sense? Like it
Yeah,
writes it
it does.
nicely.
Because unfortunately, when I enter my own emails through AI is basically challenging me and telling me you sound a little angry right here. Let's try to push this down a little bit. I'm like, try waiting 20 minutes or being human.
Yeah, exactly. Or being human, exactly.
I sometimes when I get angry, I remind ChatGPT, you're a computer program.
That's funny you say that because I actually do the same thing. Like when I talk to it, I'll ask it, "What do you think of this?" And it'll come back with an attitude with me, and I'm like, "Whoa, you're the computer, I'm the human. What's going on?" So
Somewhere they're training the LLMs this way to try to come off as human when it's not when it's really a computer program. And I think the the people at Anthropic and when I use Claude, Claude can actually be funny when analyzing my stuff. Same with ChatGPT, but when I'm too emotional, then ChatGPT is pointing it out to me. I'm like, ah, crap baskets.
Yes, Claude won't do that to you. Mm-mm.
No,
I've never
Claude
had
laughs, which I like. Claude
it.
asks how you are. ChatGPT just wants to explain everything when it doesn't need to. I'm like, I don't need an explanation. I just need
Mhm.
you to read, analyze, interpret, and, tell me if it's right or not.
Yeah, it acts like a therapist.
Yeah, that's what I go to a human for, even though I mean, my therapist and I were discussing a fun situation which I entered into ChatGPT, and then ChatGPT was like, well, we need to reframe what your therapist is saying. I'm like, no, we don't.
Mm-mm.
Doesn't
No,
matter if he has a weird cake theory or not. You're not human. You're not dealing with what he and I are dealing with.
absolutely. I agree 100%. I think there's a whole nother topic there with AI and
That
autism.
might end up actually being the next episode or two when I decide, therapy and art and technology.
Hmm.
So we will see you next time, folks. That was episode 2. I'm Benjamin.
Episode 3.
Oh, that was episode 3. I'm Benjamin,
I'm Allison.
and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
All right.
Awesome.
Okay, so I'm gonna let this convert
Okay.
38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. We have about 8 minutes left, so I'll send this over to you when I'm done, and then I'm gonna send an email to Zach, okay?
Yeah, and then too, the other topic that I think would be really cool to discuss, and maybe we already did, but I could swear we didn't, is you don't look autistic.
Oh my fucking God, I hate that one.
That one freaking, I could go on a like not a rampage, but like a whole like ramble session with people about I don't look autistic. What does autism look like? Let's go. Like,
Okay, so I'm going to combine AI and therapy and make that an episode, and You Don't Look Autistic is going to turn into its own episode.
absolutely, absolutely. And we could talk. We can read off script and then we can go into like stories about people saying that to us and how we respond and how people should really treat us.
Yeah, oh my God, I fucking hate that phrase.
In here, most of us do. I think we should put that one on. I will share that one on my LinkedIn 1,000% and tell people to read it. And I will ask others to share it too, because I think most autistic people, that's the most annoying one is you don't look autistic.
Oh yeah. Let's decide I'll get back to you offline when we're done with this, and then I'll ask you your next availability, and then we can do that this month, okay?
Yes, that sounds good.
Okay.
Okay. All
All
right.
right.
Thank you, Benjamin.
You're welcome. You get
All right.
you get 5 minutes back.